And now, time for weekly show with a passionate India lover, chairman of ITV Gold and Parikh Worldwide Media. Get ready for loving sharing from physician, philanthropist, publisher, and India advocate in this week. Namaskar, welcome to this special edition of This Week with Padma Shri recipient Dr. Sudhir Parikh. Dr. Sahab, namaste, welcome.
Namaskar everyone.
So a lot of excitement in air, and as we speak, the joy and jubilance of India's historic landing on the South Pole side of the moon. So first off, you were definitely watching it live when it was happening. How was the feeling?
Well, it's a great excitement. It's a great excitement. It's a once in a lifetime thing to watch. And 60 years ago, I watched when USA landed in the moon.
Wow.
So, it was first time, right? And then now after 60 years, I can see that our own country, Mother India, is landed on the moon, and we came long way. Actually, of course, all the kudos goes to all our scientists, those who work very hard, and they achieved what almost impossible to achieve, and that shows that India has arrived with the in the world, and with the same step with the Western countries like USA and Russia. So I think we are very proud of it. We are very proud of our Prime Minister because under his leadership, this whole Chandrayaan 3 project happened. And I think Prime Minister has done excellent, cheering of the scientists. Of course, the credit goes to scientists, and scientists deserves all the credit because it's not easy to do this kind of thing, and it has a very long-lasting effect.
Absolutely. So we'll stay with Chandrayaan 3, and this is on, as we compare with other projects from different nations, on a shoestring budget, so $75 million, which is much less than many of the Hollywood films. Plus, this is the first time that any country has succeeded in touching the South Pole side of moon. Overall, the way you witnessed it, and Prime Minister Narendra Modi from Brazil BRICS meeting was also a part of that experience. I'll take you to the critical side, which is coming from many opposition leaders, and some media houses also are saying that he took the limelight from the scientists. And again, there are both sides to it. How do you see this? People, let's say, blaming him for taking away the limelight from the scientist or that fraternity?
Well, I think he is the Prime Minister, he is a leader of the country, and whatever happens, anything good or bad even, always buck stops at the Prime Minister. Mm-hmm. So I think there is nothing wrong in taking the credit. I think he did it right way. And I'm sure he also acknowledged the role of the scientist. And therefore, I think in this case, political criticism or political rhetoric has no meaning. I think let's enjoy the success of the Chandrayaan 3, and let's applaud everyone who has a role to play in this whole event.
I think you have a very valid point, and I also heard, first of all, he's going to meet them and address them as soon as he comes back to India, and his speech was very emotional and it was very moving, and in that he declared 23rd August as a National Space Day for India, which again is a source of inspiration, and also he named the point where this rover landed as Shiv Shakti Point, and another where Chandrayaan 2 landed as Tiranga Point. That is also being discussed in heated debates in India. How do you see the naming of these points? He gave his reasoning, which is quite unifying actually.
Yeah, I think there is nothing wrong in naming the spot where Chandrayaan landed, and I don't see any controversy. But I think that's a democracy. In democracy, everyone has different way of looking at the thing. It's like four blind men describing elephant. So whoever wants to say whatever they want to say, but that has no meaning really, no much value to it. I think what Prime Minister has done, it's rightfully so. The credit should go to Prime Minister or whoever is leader. Whenever events happen, whoever is the leader should get the credit, and buck always stops there. And whether even something goes wrong, also buck stops to him only. So I think there is nothing wrong in it. I think it's unnecessary conversation and discussion. I mean, because of the social media, a lot of people have a lot of time in India on their hand.
Here also.
to do all this controversy. So I'm not impressed with it, and I don't pay attention to it personally.
So that is good for you, and I think that is the way to stay productive. And I think Prime Minister Narendra Modi also aligns with you. He doesn't respond to a lot of these.
No, he should not respond to all this thing. Yeah.
So his focus on G20 while he was addressing this B20 summit, referring to the success of Chandrayaan 3, he said this is success of scientists as well as entrepreneurs. And that way he also inspired and energized those who were present and listening, and he also made certain points which proves the claim for India to be the place to come and do business with. How do you see G20 the way it turned out so far?
Well, I think G20 is doing very well, and India is going all out to make sure that in October the G20 last meeting will be very successful. And I think this is the one in every 20 years lifetime presidency, because it comes by rotation. So it's not that somebody gets it because their qualification is rotation. Mm-hmm. So we got after 20 years, and we have to now wait another 19 years to get again. So I think what Prime Minister is doing is rightfully so, to showcase the India on his best face, best value, and best ability.
And I think once again we give credit to his vision. So unlike previous tradition where most of such international events were organized only in Delhi, he chose 60 places in different cities.
I think it's a great idea. It's a good concept. Good concept.
And staying with the reference of BRICS and the Indo-China relationship, there were some reports that both head of the states came to some consensus about not having any disturbing activity on the border. But today there is a report where China came up with a map which is not acceptable to India. And how do you see moving forward?
Well, because it shows that China's intention is different than what they are talking. So, I mean, that is unacceptable to showing Arunachal as a part of the China. And once you show that, and if in the front of the world in G20 meeting, and everybody, half of the people may start believing it. So you don't want that. And actually India should strongly oppose that thing, and should not let this kind of map publicize. If I'm in power, I would do all my best to stop that, because once you start, because then it creates a precedent of the wrong thing, you know.
So they are making right noise against
right,
it.
Of course, of course.
Coming to America and looking at the way India is celebrated, and you were a part of Bharat Mahotsav at the Times Square, how was the feel, and continuing with the India Day parade to this overall?
I think India Day Parade, of course, it was a great event, and we started this India Day Parade almost 40 years ago. And the whole idea behind showcasing our culture, our heritage to American population. And not only that, but it also gives, empowers our second generation, tells them that India has struggled for independence. The independence of India is very valuable, and that's why even after 75 years, our democracy still survived. That shows that our democracy is very deep-rooted and strong. And India Day Parade kind of vouch for that. And now, last weekend, we celebrated Bharat Mahotsav. There is an organization called Confluence. They started this celebration of the Bharat Mahotsav. What it is that they believe that world is one, and they believe in Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam. And whole idea of Bharat Mahotsav is to connect or strengthen the US-India relation, not only politically or diplomatically speaking, but also in technology, in business to business, business to consumer, new startup, even cottage industries. All these things they are trying to promote in the Western world, and I think it's a great initiatives. And they have even Swadeshi parade. It means they are showcasing Indian high-end designers to the Western world. They have Swadeshi Munch, from where they are doing a lot of exchange of the cottage industries. So I think this Bharat Mahotsav is very successful. It went very successful. We had a 4 days program. First day we had a meet and greet at consulate. And then second day we had a big function in the Times Square. As you know, the Times Square is a best address one can have to do any event, and there is hundreds of thousands of people were there in Times Square to witness our culture, our heritage, our whatever we were talking about, making US-India relations stronger. And then next day we had a CME kind of conference where we talk about kind of yoga, importance of yoga, quantum healing, some complementary medicine, and some medical medicine, or means allopathic medicine. So that gives a lot of widespread knowledge to the participant. And then last day they did a puja for from Hudson to Ganga. The name of the puja was Hudson to Ganga. Means they took a Hudson water, did a puja, and then they're going to take it to the Ayodhya to do the Abhishek in January, and that's called
beautiful
Hudson to Ganga. So I
you.
think overall the symbolic way Bharat Mahotsav was very successful, and I'm very proud and privileged that I was one of the hosts of the Bharat Mahotsav, and I'm very happy to see whatever way we can increase or strengthen the US-India relation is always good.
Wonderful. I'm so happy to hear and learn about all these details, and so must be our viewers. And as we conclude this session, your parting words for our viewers.
Well, dear friends, summer is going well, I'm sure. Everyone is enjoying good weather all over the country. We just celebrated India's independence. Also, we had a function of Bharat Mahotsav, which meant to strengthen the US-India relation, both, all different ways, like politically, diplomatically, to have a relation, technology relation, business to business connections, and business to consumer connections. So I think we are marching away, and we are doing great. So keep it up, and always think, whatever you do, always think that your obligation is to help Mother India, and you must do something to help the Mother India. After saying that, I would like to say, God bless America, God bless India. God bless Indian American. And before I leave, I would like to say I love you all. Enjoy the summer, whatever left to go. And we'll see you next week. Till then, goodbye.